With a streak of dry days, communities across southern Wisconsin are focusing on cleanup after this summer's historic flooding.
This is News 3 at 6.
Thanks for joining us. Governor Scott Walker says the state is taking the next steps toward federal help for flooding.
Well, the governor says right now the estimate for damage in the state is roughly $208 million. News 3's Adam Duxter was in Sauk County today as the governor talked about what he has seen there. Adam joins us live from Reedsburg right now. Adam?
Well, I am at the Baraboo River in Reedsburg, where, as you can see, the water levels are still very high here on the Baraboo River. But Governor Scott Walker saying today he and his staff plan to take the first steps to get federal funding on Monday. Now, Governor Scott Walker visiting Reedsburg to talk about how damage from these storms will be paid for. He said the total for flood damages could exceed $208 million. He says this comes from a combination of residential damage, commercial damage, and damage to crops. He says that over the course of the next week, his staff will meet with federal agents to discuss funding.
Once we hit that mark, and assuming it gets to what they predict to be on Sunday, then we've got about a 30-day window for us to put information together. It's the conclusion of this weather pattern.
Today, Walker praised the volunteers who have been helping in the flood relief efforts, and as for that $208 million in damages, Walker said that number could fluctuate. But here in Reedsburg, it's been a community effort. In fact, where I'm standing right now, earlier this week, members of the Reedsburg High School football team were out here sandbagging, and we actually caught up with some of those guys. We'll have their story on how they are going forward tonight at 10.
Yeah, you got to figure these numbers are going to change a lot the farther we get, and what a lot of work ahead. Adam Duxter live in Reedsburg. Adam, thank you.
Flooding is taking an emotional toll on people who live in Sauk County tonight, but neighbors are helping neighbors look toward the future. Rose Schmidt shares one woman's journey from Laval.
As water from the Baraboo River recedes here in Laval, the theme of the day was cleanup, as volunteers took to homes and parks throughout the area.
This entire backyard, you couldn't see the pond.
What you could see?
Just a lot of water and everything ruined in the basement. There was 5 feet of water in my basement.
Floodwaters covering Molly Padelko's now very muddy yard.
I was here in 2008, but this is worse. Done more damage.
And seeping into her home.
When I go to bed, I lock the doors, but I don't know why. There's nothing here to take anymore. It's pretty well spread around.
What she does have left is now drying out with a little help.
All these people are a blessing.
From her friends at Samaritan's Purse.
Everything's floated around, and they're removing all those contents, as well as doing the same thing at other houses on the block.
It's an important step in the process of moving forward.
When disasters like this hit, and the quicker the homeowners can get the homes cleaned out, it moves them towards restoration.
But restoration isn't an easy place to get to when so much is ruined or gone altogether.
A lot of stuff has just floated away, hard telling where we'll find it.
But for Molly, it's the little things getting her through this stressful time.
But the only thing didn't float away is that cement toadstool there.
And somehow keeping her spirits high.
I've lived here about 22, 23 years. So every 10 years we get blessed, I guess.
In Laval, I'm Rose Schmidt for WISC News 3.
If your home or business has been impacted by flooding, the American Red Cross encourages you to pay attention to physical health needs. Make sure you're eating and sleeping normally. And if you're feeling helpless or hopeless, talk to your doctor or a mental health professional. These professionals will be on hand tomorrow in Reedsburg and Laval.
Even though the Baraboo River crested in Baraboo today, there could still be some problems for drivers along the interstate. The Department of Transportation says lane closures are expected over the weekend on the interstates in Dane and Columbia counties as water levels gradually rise in the area.
The United Way of Dane County is assisting those affected by heavy rains and flooding in the area. Last month's historic rain significantly damaged communities like Maizomanie and Cross Plains. The organization announced the United Way Flood Relief Fund today. They will accept donations and help banks and businesses that have been contributing to relief funds disperse the money.
And it's like, okay, so we raised the funds and now what? And that's where United Way can come in to help. That's what we do. That's where our expertise is. And so it's wonderful in a way to be able to be there at a time of very visible need.
The funds will be used to meet needs of the community, such as home and car repairs not covered by insurance.
You can help clean Middleton's flood-damaged Pheasant Branch Conservancy over the weekend. Recent flooding caused about $2.5 million in damage to that green space. If you're interested in helping the cleanup, meet at 2 entrances to the park around 1 o'clock on Sunday. You're asked to bring your own work gloves, wear sturdy shoes. Anyone under the age of 18 will need to have a parent or guardian sign a waiver as well. Experts say the mosquito population is abnormally large for this time of the year.
They say all this flooding is to blame. Keely Arthur is live in our backyard patio to explain.
Well, heavy rain equals standing water equals more mosquitoes. Experts saying up to 10 to 50 times more to be exact. Now, people at the UW say following that heavy rain, certain breeds known as floodwater mosquitoes flourish. The most important question, though, is are they dangerous?
You can expect to be annoyed by them. They are a bit of a nuisance, but as far as disease transmission or anything like that, in this area, they're not known to carry any diseases at all. So there's no heightened risk of contracting a mosquito-borne disease.
To avoid getting bit from these mosquitoes, you can wear both DEET or non-DEET repellent will work, and also put on those long sleeves and pants. And the best news in all of this, once it dries off and cools down, which it is right now, those mosquitoes will be gone.
Okay, can't wait for that day to come. Keely Arthur reporting from the backyard patio. Keely, thank you. It is a rain delay no sports fan wants to experience.
But a little good sportsmanship is helping a local business owner through a great loss. We're sharing his story. That's next, only on News 3.
We have seen a lot lost in this summer's historic floods. For one man here in Madison, he not only lost his business, but his livelihood.
Our Jamie Perez takes us inside his store to show us what's left of the place that served generations of sports fans.
For baseball fans, it's the love of the game that keeps them going. A game where attitude is everything, where all it takes is all you've got. For Tom Daniels, his story started with his passion for baseball 36 years ago.
We're walking through the mall here and just decided, why don't we open a card shop?
For 36 years, Tom has run this card shop out at the Westgate Mall, a haven for sports fans, a collector's corner.
People like to come in and just talk sports.
But after 4 feet of water swept through this place like a river, The game got rained out.
It wasn't minor, it was major this time.
The walls caved in, the novelties and collector's items in here soaked, unsalvageable, gone. 3 strikes.
Probably about $300,000 retail lost.
Garbage bags filled with memories and collectibles.
As we've thrown out about 200 garbage bags full of cards.
You think this is hard to see? What's still inside the store is much more of a swing and a miss.
Most of these that are up here, they've been wet also and they're warped, so I don't think there's anything in this book that I can really salvage.
Cards worth hundreds of dollars.
They're like older Packer cards, mainly from the 1950s, early 1960s, and they're pretty much going to have to be trashed because they're all wet.
Cards with some of baseball's most memorable players.
And you can see how this one's darker, so it's completely wet. They're both from the same year.
For Tom, life is a bit of a pitch right now. Do you have flood insurance?
No, we did for 35 years. We were with Travelers, but they discontinued their insurance last year. And we didn't find any other company that had flood insurance.
While Tom works tirelessly to make his way back to home base here, he's kind of already hit a home run. See, with baseball, you can skillfully steal, and he's definitely stolen the hearts of many customers.
We've had several of our customers that actually stopped in and offered to help.
Like Russ Winter. He's seeing the store after the flood for the first time.
Well, it's certainly not what I had seen the previous visits, and it looks pretty terrible that it happened.
It is sad, but like the bottom of the 9th inning, the game isn't over quite yet. Sometimes the best opportunities come to those who make the best of small ones.
The box got wet, and it seems like the other side is fine.
He'll continue selling cards, maybe not here in this store, but somewhere. He thinks maybe as a vendor at some events, online somewhere, with what he is able to save.
It came all apart.
Until then, he's just gonna keep swinging for America's favorite pastime and for his own love of the game. In Madison, Jamie Perez, WISC News 3.
Tom's wife, Anita, tells us they are well past the age of retirement, so they don't think it's likely they'll rebuild and reopen their store, but they do think they will sell cards on eBay or at special events. Very, very tough. Coming up, it is a modern-day mystery involving the Henry Vilas Zoo.
And we are learning more about a child abuse case in Columbia County involving a Nerf gun and needles. That's next at 6. We're following unusual allegations of child abuse in Columbia County. A Portage area stepfather is in jail tonight awaiting his first court appearance.
He is accused of shooting sharp needles attached to Nerf darts at young children. Madeline O'Neill just back from Columbia County with the very latest. Maddie?
Well, the Columbia County Sheriff's Office is looking into these allegations of child abuse after finding the Nerf gun and the needles. Sheriff's detectives say their investigations show 33-year-old Brian Alexander shot the needles at his stepchildren, ages 6 to 9, multiple times in a town of Lewiston home. Authorities also tell us they're investigating a claim he did the same thing at another location outside their jurisdiction in the county as well. Sheriff's Department officials say the mother is being cooperative in the investigation, and as of now, they have no evidence she did anything to warrant criminal charges. We spoke with a woman who says she is the mother of the children involved. She says she knew nothing of the alleged abuse. Alexander had a scheduled initial court appearance this afternoon that has been postponed until Monday.
All right, Maddie, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Madison police say they have arrested a person involved in a shooting on the city's west side yesterday. That shooting happened just after noon at an apartment complex near Elver Park. Officers say the shooter and victim knew one another. A 19-year-old shot in the leg is expected to be okay.
A Wisconsin man is giving a generous gift to some high school students. All 34 seniors at Luck High School will get free tuition at a 2-year technical school if they graduate. Businessman Dennis Franzen is picking up the cost. He said he focused on vocational college because there are so many scholarships already for 4-year schools, and there is a shortage of skilled workers like electricians and plumbers. Franzen is a banker. The Henry Vilas Zoo wants your help in bringing a new animal to the zoo, but it's going to be a mystery. The zoo started a donation website and is asking the community to help raise $30,000 so the animal can come in time for the holidays. The zoo plans to provide weekly hints to the identity of the animal. You can find a link to the donation website by visiting channel3000.com.
I like a good mystery. Oh, we're hoping for a dry stretch of weather to continue. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield on the backyard patio. Dave?
Yeah, I think we solved that mystery, Eric and Charlotte. It's going to be dry for the foreseeable future, at least for the next week and even into next weekend. It looks like the weather will stay dry across southern Wisconsin. Next Monday is when we start to welcome in rain chances once again. And by then, I think we should start to really improve weather-wise across the area, whether that be the local lakes or rivers as well. A lot going on this weekend, so don't let the clouds fool you. It is nice outside, maybe a little bit of a chill in the air tonight, so if you are out and about, maybe for Friday night football or any other plans you have outside, maybe a sweatshirt, not a bad idea, but of course I don't have Wisconsin blood after all. The Wiener and Kraut Fest going on this weekend, pleasant and breezy, at least for the next couple of days. But don't let that stop you from piling it on. The Badgers forecast for tomorrow kicking off at 11 a.m. at Camp Randall Stadium, facing the New Mexico Lobos. A little bit breezy still, variably cloudy. Temperatures starting off in the 60s, but we should make it into the low 70s. And for swimming, biking, and running for the triathlon, the Ironman triathlon this Sunday. That was my mascot in high school, but I will not be participating. But it will be low humidity and partly sunny and breezy for all those involved. Visible cloud track showing the clouds have been around all day, and we can thank the cold front that is just far enough south to not bring us any precipitation, but still the clouds hanging around. They've kept things cool, and those clouds not producing any rain, which is the most important thing after all. Doppler track showing those rain showers still across portions of central Illinois and Indiana, not going to affect us anytime soon. Downtown Madison, overcast skies on the Edgewater Skycam. The almanac for today, high of only 67. Normal for this time of year should be about 75, so we're running about 10 degrees below normal. Right now, we're in the mid-60s, 64 to be exact. That breeze has calmed down a little bit out of the east-northeast at 8 miles per hour. Weather track, we're taking a look at Hurricane Florence, and that could impact the U.S. mainland as early as the middle of next week. Still pretty far off, though, and that's what we can see on Weather Track. So we'll have to keep an eye on it, but some models are saying that some impacts are possible. It's a little bit too early right now to say definitively, but we'll definitely keep a close eye on that. We're keeping a close eye on the rain to our south as well. A cold front just to our north. It's going to come through dry and not affect us in the way of any precipitation, which is good news. Temperatures in the 60s and 70s across the Midwest with Dew point temperatures in the 40s and 50s, so still feeling quite comfortable. Maybe some decreasing clouds overnight, and tomorrow variably cloudy and breezy. Highs in the low 70s. As we take a look at future track, we can see temperatures starting off in the low 50s by the time we get to tomorrow morning. Highs should make it into the low 70s for Saturday. A beautiful day for any college football activities or really any outdoor activities. If we do dip into the 40s on Sunday morning, that would be the first time that Madison has hit the 40s in more than 3 months. Early June was the last time that lows that night dipped into the 40s. So that will feel fantastic. It will continue to feel fantastic on the 7-day forecast. We'll get a lot more sun in town Monday through Friday. So for the work week, expect a lot of sunshine. Temperatures heading into the 80s, and our next chance of rain arriving next Monday.
Well, there's a new America's team in the house, according to Aaron Rodgers, that is. We've got all the football, high school Badgers and Packers. That's next in sports.
Good evening. I'm Amanda Quintana. Tonight on the news at 9, we're hearing from the Reedsburg football team how they're getting past recent flooding to play the game they love. That's first on Fox.
Well, we're almost halfway through the regular season in high school football, believe it or not, and we've still got a few undefeated teams left around the state. That includes the hosts of tonight's Prep Mania Game of the Week. For that, we head out to Waunakee and Jay Wilson, where the Warriors will put their 3-0 record to the test tonight. Good evening, Jay.
Hi, Melissa, and good evening, everyone. Boy, we missed you guys last week with the Prep Mania Game of the Week, but the good news is we're back this week with a rivalry game, DeForest at Waunakee. Bill Brophy, Alan Minert joining me as usual, and I guess rivalry's the word. A lot of people would say Waunakee's a heavy favorite, but don't count out DeForest.
Well, Waunakee is a preeminent program in the Badger, has been for 10, maybe 30 years. But yeah, DeForest always gives them a thrill. They haven't beat them since 2013, but it's always a hard-hitting game. The communities aren't crazy about each other. The kids know each other. Evan Armstrong's one of the premier running backs in the Badger Conference, so you never know. But Waunakee's got her going. They've got, 90% of their games the last 10 years. They won the Division II title a year ago. A lot of those guys are gone. Elo Johnson's on the New Mexico roster. It's going to play the Badgers tomorrow. Javian Dane played for Boston College last week, but they reload out here, and they got a couple good players. Reed Ryan had the big play in the win over Brookfield Central at Camp Randall last year, and Sawyer Molly's an outstanding receiver, but they know how to win. Al, you coached against Pat Rice, who's built this program. You coached against him for 26 years. What makes him good?
Well, I think their preparation is just outstanding and in all phases of the game. So you take last week as an example, you think they've got an inexperienced quarterback coming, and what do? They load up on special teams, get a block punt, run an opening kickoff back for a touchdown. And defense has always been their real strong suit here. And then they just get better and better as the season goes along offensively with that big line up front.
Yeah. All right, well, it's the tradition. DeForest and Waunakee will be live on TVW and channel3000.com at 7 o'clock. And Melissa, the weirdest thing, we're swatting mosquitoes, and it's an artificial turf field. These are going to be the hungriest mosquitoes in the history of high school football. Back to you.
Thanks, Jay. I'm glad. No offense. You're there, not me. Gosh, geez. Anyways, tune in later for some post-game from that game. Meanwhile, early kickoff for the Badgers tomorrow, 11 a.m. and hosting New Mexico at Camp Randall. Yesterday, head coach Paul Chryst said that Xander Neville and Isaiah Loudermilk would both be back from injuries. But how much time will they actually see on the field? Well, no set snap count or anything, according to Coach Chryst, but more of a let's see how it goes situation.
I've never been one, whether it's how many carries does a back get or how many plays does this guy get. I think you got to be smart. You got to understand that, where they're at and where they're coming from. And yet, I think there is something to it. We'd never put a guy out there that could damage it more. So there's nothing like that.
To the Packers now, as if we needed more bulletin board material for Sunday night's home opener between the Bears and Packers. Aaron Rodgers said yesterday during the halftime of the very exciting Falcons-Eagles game that the Green Bay Packers are America's team, usually a nickname saved for the Dallas Cowboys. Well, anyways, the defense is definitely ready to prove that they're America's defense, with a lot of attention on Khalil Mack as he made his way to Chicago last week. So Clay Matthews, he is ready to set the tone.
Well, I think we're trying to set an identity as opposed to just showing up and hoping for the best. But, I think like all defenses, I think it started with an attitude and mantra. Yeah. When we first came in here, and that's just to be flying around, physical, getting after the quarterback, taking the ball away.
So 7:20 kickoff, that's on Sunday night. Believe it or not, I'm sure a lot of people will be watching that game.
You think so?
Just a little, just a few, just a couple people.
Yeah, and big game tonight on Waunakee and DeForest, channel3000.com.
Yep, be sure to tune in.
TVW as well. Jay will have the call, and we'll have the highlights as well of that. And, of course, Badger game tomorrow. Melissa will have all highlights of that as well. Tomorrow, 11 a.m. kickoff.
Lots of football, everybody. Get excited. It feels like fall.
It's a football week. And the weather is going to cooperate as well.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us for News 3 at 6.
Do something good, and we'll see you back here at 10.
Download the new Channel 3000 app and get alerted on your mobile device the minute news breaks. Wherever you go, be the first to know with Channel 3000.